a small town. See how far you make it down the road.
After CMT pulled his music video from the airwaves yesterday, Jason Aldean is defending his new song and music video, Try That in a Small Town. He wrote on his Instagram story today, "In the past 24 hours, I've been accused of releasing a pro-lynching song, a song that's been out since May. Yes, Jason, but you released the music video on Friday. That would be July 14th, 4 days ago, so that's why people are responding on Monday, okay? And was subject to the comparison that I, direct quote, was not too pleased with the nationwide BLM protests. These references are not only meritless, but dangerous." Well, Jason, you're singing this while we're seeing images from the Black Lives Matter protests in the wake of George Floyd's killing.
When you cross that line, it won't take long for you to find out. I recommend you don't.
He goes on to say, there's not a single lyric in the song that references race or points to it. And there's not a single video clip that isn't real news footage. Do you like how he said that? Notice that he didn't say, there's not a single video clip that references race or points to it, because they all do. He's correct that there's not a single lyric that references race. So why is he showing images from the Black Lives Matter protests while he's singing about store robberies, hate crimes, and carjackings?
Sucker punch somebody on a sidewalk, carjacking old lady at a red light.
Well, while singing those lyrics and seeing those unrelated images allow him deniability, in the viewer's mind, they are linked together. So the Black Lives Matter protesters are sucker punching Asians in the street and looting liquor stores. The visual links to race don't end there. Jason traveled 45 miles from his small town of Nashville, Tennessee, to Columbus, Tennessee, to shoot the music video. Odd decision, don't you think? And he shot the music video in front of the Maury County Courthouse. That is where a white mob hung a young black man, 18-year-old Henry Chode, in 1927. Henry was accused of a crime, but the white mob didn't wait for evidence or a trial or a confession. No, they killed him in his jail cell, and then they hung him from the second floor of that courthouse. That courthouse was also the center of the Columbus race riot in 1946, where a white mob tried to lynch Thurgood Marshall. Just a coincidence, right, Jason? Let's move on. As many pointed out, I was present at Route 91 where so many lost their lives, and our community recently suffered another heartbreaking tragedy. No one, including me, wants to continue to see senseless headlines or families ripped apart. I fully agree with that statement, Jason. What does that have to do with your song or your video? To use your own words, there's not a single lyric or a single video clip that references mass shootings or points to it. So why bring that up, Jason? I know why you brought it up. You know why you brought it up. Do I really need to go here, Jason? So you want me to entertain this idea that that's what your song was really about, even though there's no lyric reference to it or visual reference to it? But okay. Try opening fire on a crowd in a small town and see how far you get. How would it have been different if it was in a small town, Jason? And even if I entertain the idea that you're talking more generally, try mass shootings in a small town? Jason, tragically, that's where they're mostly happening. Route 91 was a terrible event. I'm so sorry that you're there at that event. 61 people died, Jason. 61 people died. It has nothing to do with your song. You brought that up for sympathy? You're using those 61 people that died for a shield to your racism. That's disgusting, Jason. Shame on you. Try That in a Small Town, for me, refers to the feeling of a community that I had growing up, where we took care of our neighbors, regardless of differences of background or belief, because they were neighbors and that was above any differences. Well, just to let you know, Jason wasn't born in a small town, wasn't raised in a small town, nor does he now live in a small town. Jason was born in 1977 in Macon, Georgia, and he lived there till he was 21, so 1998. Here's the population of Macon at the beginning of each decade that he lived there. In 1998, Jason moved to Nashville, which at that time had a population of 715,000. My political views have never been something I've hidden from, and I know that a lot of us in this country don't agree on how we get back to a sense of normalcy, where we go at least a day without a headline that keeps us up at night. But the desire for it to, that's what this song is about. Very vague, eh? What is this normalcy that Jason is talking about? Is it before there were carjackings or liquor store or convenience store robberies? I mean, I don't even know when that was. From the images he shows us in the video, the normalcy is before people protested the unlawful killing of a black man in the streets. And white people could ignore the rule of law and hang a black man from the second floor of that courthouse. And when it comes to the headlines that keep Jason up at night, clearly he's not losing any sleep over the January 6th insurrection, because there's no footage of that in the video.
Cuss out a cop, spit in his face.
Forget spitting on a cop, Jason. Why not make the lyric killing a cop? Because one cop died on January 6th, and 3 more have died since then by suicide. But the spitting is what you're losing sleep over. Okay. Jason, not only is your song and your video extremely offensive, the fact you're now releasing this statement, being appalled that people think you're racist. Shame on you, Jason, for all of this. I didn't really know you or your music very well before this, but I can assure you now, you have a non-fan for life. What are your thoughts on Try That in a Small Town?